fellowship?
We went a couple different places. I went to London and spent 2 weeks examining theater in London, went to many plays and met with theater and education departments, as well as visited contemporary art museums.
I spent my first 2 weeks in New York City, 1 week in the Bronx, living with an artist, doing plein air pastels and some printmaking, and I spent my second week in Queens with the director of Queens College for the Arts, and worked with her with some linoleum cutting and also some of her educational stuff.
We then met up together with our third person who does our work with us, and we went to the Netherlands and went around the Netherlands and visited contemporary art museums and met with their education departments and talked about the different collaborations they do with students and in their communities.
This is because that in Boston we work with the Institute of Contemporary Art and do a collaboration with our students, and so we were trying to kind of get a feel for what else was out there that was along the same lines, and what could be better and what could make us better, and how we could better what we were doing.
And the theater went with a collaboration we have with the Huntington Theater in Boston, where our students go to 7 plays a year. So we try to incorporate some of the things we learned from there.
So what do you see as the ripple effect of your fellowship now with your students?
Well, one thing that happened is that the work we did with the Institute of Contemporary Art changed their whole paradigm from a model more towards the writing and the experience at the museum to something where Ari, who could tell you more, started creating artwork with the writing connected now to the art. So we sort of changed the paradigm for not only our own students, but for the entire, Boston community and students outside of Boston who work with the Institute for Contemporary Art. I think that was a huge change.
Yeah, I think that's about right. We added like an art component to a program that was just creative writing based out of the Institute of Contemporary Art, where it didn't really make sense that they weren't already making art with that. So we combined that, and now I think the entire program has changed based off of what we started.
How did your teaching change?
I think for me, my teaching changed because it became more purposeful. I kind of led us in a way to have more of an idea of what we wanted to do, and sort of saw some of the things other people did, and it kind of raised our bar and our expectations. And so each year was sort of like it challenged us to go one step beyond. And so some of the museums we went to had some collaborations with their students that kind of inspired us around some photography work we did and some fine art work we did. So in essence, I think it sort of just spurred us on and pushed us from behind, so to speak, and gave us some wind in our sails.
I also think that just through the collaboration of working together in that and within the confines of the Institute of Contemporary Art, that our students that we all grew kind of closer, and then that essentially that we cared more, and then the students cared more, and now there's been kind of this transition throughout the years that students who have done it before understand it, and there's kind of pass the torch, and then so we have kids who typically you can't take out and do these things with, and they've have kind of supported each other through the years, telling them this is a good thing, you should do this, and that they'll do better writing, or they'll do art, and they typically wouldn't do art, or they typically wouldn't do writing, and now through the collaboration we've kind of convinced them that you have to do both and that it's worth doing, and they've convinced each other, and then so we've kept doing it. It's been positive.
What would you tell a teacher who's contemplating applying for a fellowship?
I think the best thing to say is it's an incredible opportunity for you to learn as a teacher, and you need to find something that both inspires you as a teacher but also connects to what's really happening in your classroom. And I think the joy for us is that we were already heading in this path, so it wasn't just some arbitrary, hey, let's just go on a vacation and call it school. It was something that was inspiring for us as people and brought us together, but at the same time was directly connected to what's happening in school. So I say find something that's relevant to you as a person, inspires you, but at the same time is relevant to what you do as a teacher.
Yeah, for me personally, it was the catalyst to lead me in a more independent direction for my own art, which has now become pretty successful, and I think will continue to go that way. And then also, as far as teaching goes, it's brought me closer, I think, to my students, and it's become our
raison d'etre.
it's what our school focuses on when they need a go-to, what are you doing right? And I think a lot of that stemmed from from doing that, and